Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Password, sir?
Fidelia.
Thank you, sir.
Too. When you
He
see him in
was.
Tootsie,
Yeah.
he's not as good in Eyes Wide Shut, but that's because Stanley wasn't that good a director. Look on your face.
So all right. So there's a lot about him. And first of all, he replaced Harvey Keitel, but
yeah,
Leon Vitali, who we both knew,
Yeah.
a good friend with my wife as well, who handled the Kubrick archives. He was Kubrick's assistant from
right.
like The Dawn of Time, The Shining, or something. Cast the little boy in The Shining, but he had said that he replaced Harvey Keitel, and they shot that pool hall scene like for 2 days where he answers the door and it's Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah.
said that Sidney Pollack finally goes, "Look, Stanley, we've been doing this for 2 days. I mean, I've been answering this door for the last, week and a half or something like that." He's like, "I'm pretty sure we got it."
Not sure we got it.
And Stanley Kubrick's like, "Well, I know, Sidney, but don't you want to do it right?" Leon told me a funny story though. We were at the Ray Stark bar. Did I tell you this? Kubrick's archives show up at LACMA. So Leon, Loda, and I and a few friends were like, "Let's go see it." Right. So we're at the Ray Stark bar having drinks, and he's talking about Eyes Wide Shut because there was a couple pieces from the film. And somehow Leon did a lot of Stanley's preliminary casting, or if not casting altogether. And one of the things he was talking about, because in Eyes Wide Shut, he's Red Cloak. Well, he's eight different characters.
Yeah. Yeah.
He shows up 8 different times, but he's the guy in the middle. Is like, "Excuse me, sir, do you have the password?" "That's right. That is the password." That guy. So he said, "Yeah, I did that." And it was interesting because I had to cast all those actresses for that big scene.
Oh.
Or cast all the women, he said.
All the women for when they're getting selected for the orgy stuff. Yeah.
Right. So he said, we put the call out. Somehow he came up, he started to explain. He's like, we put the call out for like 2 or 3,000 women for those roles. And I was like, you had to sit through auditions of 2 or 3,000 actresses? And he corrected me. He goes, I wouldn't really consider them actresses, really. They were more like close proximity entertainers. But he's like, I had to have it recorded because he didn't want any of them to come through and like claim something happened that didn't happen or was inappropriate in the casting session. So he put everything on tape, every interaction, nonstop. It was interesting, and he is, it's funny because he broke it down for me. He's like 2 or 3 guys in a row that Tom Cruise interacts with. It's like the guy who takes his coat, the guy who shows him in the room, the guy in the balcony that looks down at him. And then he's like, he showed how like Stanley would just say, Leon, get up there, grab a mask and get up there. And it was that informal at times with them, which was, it was interesting to hear him sort of give you like a creative timeline of how Tom Cruise enters this party and Leon is like basically the guy who's running around the camera in a sense.
And in my mind, I'm wondering if Stanley Pollack's character isn't one of the people staring down on him, that knowing stare.
Yeah.
Especially,
well, I think the character is clearly supposed to be there, correct? Right? Don't they reveal it?
I think,
but is it actually
so,
Stan?
yeah. Well,
but is it actually Sidney?
Sidney knew all about it. I don't remember the character's name, but Sidney knew all about Tom Cruise having been there that night, the night before.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And
And
look,
and they bring him because it's not at the orgy, it's somewhere else where Sidney Pollack has the girl that OD'd.
yeah, earlier on at his Christmas party.
Right. And then she dies,
Hmm.
and then Tom checks her out in the morgue. I mean, another prurient Stanley,
Yeah.
so much of that stuff was just Stanley living in his sex fantasies, I just I just
Yeah.
I can't help but laugh. And I'm sure that I am just the worst blasphemer to all of the Stanley Kubrick fans that are out there.
Oh,
And
I
they are
know. I know.
legion,
Yeah.
which is why Stanley had a home at Warner Brothers, because Bob and Terry understood that you might want to have your logo on this guy's movies,
Yeah.
and not
Yeah.
everything is a home run. Some of them aren't even singles, um, but there's such a legion of diehard fans that it's worth having. And Stanley didn't spend that much money making them.
Well, that's the thing, right? It wasn't like monstrous cost for him to deliver a film. He had a small crew. But the thing about it that's interesting is that the Stanley Kubrick nation takes very personal offense if you criticize the art. They think you're attacking them because they love it.
This is Peter Coyne from The Godfathers. NMOSD is a killer. Help find a cure for NMOSD and with it cancer. Please go to the Guthrie Jackson Foundation and donate today. Thank you.
Turn around, turn upside down, but all it's seeing, shut up, drown.